Welcome to our sixth session of IQI Academy's Psychology Unit. We're here to learn, to have fun, and to make a difference. At this point in the course, you should be integrating all the areas of the system of profound knowledge into your teach to learn conversations. So take a look at how you've thought about the sources of fear conversations and the sources of fear in my organization's suggestions. How have you included an understanding of variation, an appreciation for a system, a theory of knowledge, as well as an understanding of each person's job to be done, along with psychology? Today, we'll complete part 2 of our discussions about stress and engagement. We have a guest instructor, Mary King, who I'll introduce in a minute, who will be leading that conversation for us. And then today, you'll be designing your next weekly PDSA cycle. Please continue to invite people to participate with you in your capstone presentation session. As of 7:30 this morning, we've, as a group, have invited 124 people. There are 42 people who have said yes. 3 have said no, 3 have said maybe, and the rest have not yet responded. So please continue to have conversations with those folks in your life and encourage them to join us. So last Friday, we introduced part 1 of our discussions on stress and fear and engagement. And we had our focus on fear in our organizations. Today, we'll complete our conversations about stress and engagement in our workplaces. And I'm very pleased to introduce Mary King as today's IQI Academy guest instructor. Mary has pursued studies in quality since the early 1990s. She earned her bachelor's degree and teaching certificate from Michigan State University. Her master's degree from Eastern Michigan University is in human, environmental, and consumer resource management. Mary's postgraduate studies have focused on business management, emphasizing quality, continual improvement, and innovation. Mary's passions are quality, continual improvement, innovation, and environmental issues. These passions have led her to become the founder and board director for the Florida-based Center for Quality and Innovation, a 501c3 organization. And it's her shared interest in Dr. Deming's work and quality improvement that brings Mary to be with us today. So Mary, thank you for sharing your time and talents with us today.
Thank you, Eric. You know, I look at this picture and I'm going, oh my goodness, it was pre-COVID, longer hair now, I just let it grow. Well, I'm thrilled to be with everyone today. I wish I could have participated even more. I just, as Eric said, this is my passion. I do want to mention my dad, because that's really where my quality journey began. My dad was in quality for most of his life. He ended his career consulting on his own, and he worked for Johnson Controls at one point. Whitmore Lake, I believe the plant was in. But he saved a company down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, that was going to lose the contract with Japan if they didn't get their quality act together. So he was down there quite a bit consulting with them, and he developed all their processes and procedures. And I still have the original book that he published for the company. And then he unexpectedly passed away just at the point where he had finished his work with them. And so they honored him quite a bit and gave quite a tribute to him. So I always like to mention my dad, my quality journey, because he would sit down and talk to me about Deming and who he really strongly admired, and his frustration as a quality control person, because America just didn't seem interested in quality, and it was the first thing to be cut. He also, after he passed away, we were down in his little office, and on his board, though, he had pinned the phone number to the White House, which I always remember because I didn't realize he had that, and he felt he could make a difference. And I called that number, and it is amazing that you do get a response back to them. If I have time later, I'll share a quote also that was pinned to that same board. So enough about me, because today is about you. You are my customers today. And that's what this whole program is about today. So I now need to put the reading glasses on. You can't make a good product in an unhappy factory. Randy Harward, former VP of Advanced Research and Development at Patagonia Inc., said that fear can produce different brain hormones. One creates invigorating action, another creates potentially debilitating stress. Stress is common when our work prevents or removes autonomy. Choice is a powerful stress reducer. This is typically why leaders do not experience the same type of stress that their subordinates do. A sense of control and autonomy distinguishes the two types of fear. If, as a leader, you must always be in command, make all the decisions, and frequently overrule the decisions of those working for you, chances are very good you experience a performance-inspiring hormone, while the people in your organization experience a stress-inducing hormone. Our brains create a 4-part mixture of hormones in response to fear, fun, and focus. Cortisol, the negative stress hormone, is released under chronic stress conditions. Long-term production of cortisol, the amygdala growth, I'm not a doctor, prefrontal cortex shrinkage, hippocampus, used for learning, shrinkage occurs. Number one protection against cortisol is autonomy. The dopamine hormone is sourced by activities include fun related to task, loving what you do, surprise, and novelty. This may be why funny people boost everybody's performance. Noradrenaline, it's a positive stress hormone, is produced in response to challenge. When we are a bit nervous, not in a comfort zone, a slightly over challenged actually is good. Many entertainers have learned that throughout the years. This enables the body to perform well in short-term stressful situations. Acetylcholine is released when the brain focuses. Prefrontal cortex can perform better when focused. When this is Eric's.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I advanced too soon. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was, in fact, that's good. Okay. We might have to move the dog. Hold on a minute. Just a second. Daisy might have to go.
Hopefully not permanently.
No, she's an adoption. Okay, next. According to John Medina, our stress responses were shaped to solve problems that lasted not years, but for seconds. Maybe you'd like to share a story, Eric, you had when you had taxes done. Do you recall that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. During a visit a couple of years ago with my tax accountant, she said that the entire tax team, this is in late April, was dropping like flies out of a variety of illnesses. She herself was headed over to her chiropractor to get a much needed adjustment. She could barely turn her head and it looked very painful. Now that tax season was over and her staff was relaxing, their bodies were finally succumbing to the stress of those high pressure weeks.
That's happened to me quite a bit after I've worked on a project for a long time, and then I take a vacation. And when I take the vacation, I get sick because I think my body finally releases and says, okay, now you can relax. Next. How managers can help. To help reduce the impact of workplace stressors, managers can increase opportunities for choice and control throughout their organizational system. Choice and control here are not meant to suggest that employees can individually do what they want, but that they, in coordination with coworkers, are able to make choices about how to achieve the organization's aim together. If, as a leader, you must always be in command, make all the decisions, and frequently overrule the decisions of those working for you, chances are very good you experience a performance-inspiring hormones your brain produces while the people in your organization experience stress-inducing hormones to reduce the impact of workplace stressors. Managers can increase opportunities for choice and control throughout their organization systems. Choice and control here are not meant to suggest that employees can individually do what they want, but that they, in coordination with their coworkers, are able to make a choice about achieving the organization's aim together. We might be off on our screen here, on our slide. Okay. Oh, that's okay. Go forward. Go forward. That's good. There's strong evidence that making progress in meaningful work produces engagement. In a recent survey, more than 600 managers from dozens of companies were invited to rank the impact on employee motivation and emotion of 5 workplace factors commonly considered significant. Next slide. Recognition, incentives, interpersonal support for making promotions and clear goals, recognition for good work, either public or private, was the manager's top selections. Next. A study of nearly, 12,000 individual daily work diary reports across many organizations showed that this was not the case. Actually, progress in meaningful work was identified via the employee work diaries as the key motivator and influencer. Yet progress in meaningful work was not mentioned by managers at all. Quite a gap. Almost everyone is working for something bigger than the task in front of them. I think Daisy's going to have to go into another room. If you don't mind.
Do you want to just take a minute and move her over? That would be fine.
I think so.
That would be good. Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. We'll take a pause.
Okay. Anyway, well, I'll finish this. Dr. Deming said people are born with a natural inclination to learn and experience joy in work. One of the most profound things that a leader can do to generate joy in work is to ensure that her people are able to make daily progress in meaningful work.
All right, let's take a short break and then you can move Daisy.
Okay. And by the way, I went through this with David Langford back when I was a teacher. Just a minute. Come, Daisy. Sorry about that. David Langford asked participants in a seminar to use the root cause analysis tool, the 5 whys, to dig deeper into their reasons for attending. One person responded this way: why am I here? I want to learn from David Langford. Why? I am hoping to learn from him about quality in education and learning. Why? To become a better teacher. leader, and transformation agent. Why? To make our state, country, world a place where we can all experience joy in learning and joy in work. Why? I believe that people who are experiencing joy in learning, joy in work, can live together in peace. We can all make a difference. Almost everyone is working for something bigger than the task in front of them. There are two types of experiences we have when attempting to perform meaningful work. One is we experience progress as a result of our efforts. Progress is experienced when a person or a team finishes a task, moves it forward, is productive, or achieves an accomplishment in the work. This could be a creative accomplishment. Our days are a collection of events in which we either make progress or experience setbacks. Setbacks are experienced when there is a lack of progress, a lack of accomplishment, work difficulties, or obstacles. Our inner work lives are impacted more by setbacks than making progress. So, with your partner, you're going to discuss, for a leader committed to ensuring that she and her people make daily progress in meaningful work, what might the leader's daily work include? How might you apply this to your project?
All right, we're going to have a couple breakout rooms. Ashley and Eric will be in one. Rocky and Tyler will be in another. Gloria, I'm guessing that you're still not at the point where voice interaction is going to work for you. So I think that'll be our two breakout sessions. So here's the question again. For a leader committed to ensuring that she and her people make daily progress in meaningful work, what might the leader's daily work include? And how might you apply this to your project? So please make some notes on this conversation. Feel free to be wide ranging around what a leader might do in this arena. Any questions before we go into this breakout?
I just have one comment. Maybe I'll tie in that handout that I sent you, Eric, that you shared with the group. The graphic, that might, if they have it handy at all, they might want to glance at that too. Okay.
Anything else about that handout that you wanted to share?
Well, there's it's 6 questions to create psychological safety with your team.
Oh yeah.
And I think it shows how the leader, the manager, is serving his customers. You're a service leader, and I think that's where we're heading with this.
I got it. Okay. All right. Anything else before we go into our breakouts? We'll have 10 minutes for this conversation, and then we'll call you back together. All right, here we go. So maybe I'll ask a question, and then Mary, you can do follow-ups. Okay. So one of the questions I'd like to ask of people is, we're asking to ensure that people are making daily progress and meaningful work. What might a leader's daily work include? I'd like to know: do your organizations have daily leadership work? Are there things that your leaders do on a regular basis daily? So is there standard work for leaders on their daily management practices? Eric.
It's an interesting question, actually. Well, I believe so. For me, it's engagement, right? And that engagement comes in different forms. It's through discussions, it's through active participation, it's from getting out of the office and into other work arenas and areas, and getting to know just kind of the ebb and flow of things, instead of just sitting in an office at a desk.
I got it. Now, Rocky, you're in the same organization. Is that the standard leadership work that you know about?
I think so. The engagement is definitely something that our new VP has brought. I think something also is that he takes time to talk or to welcome people each day. So it shows that he creates an environment that's conducive to people being involved and taking some leadership.
I got it. So these are good practices. Is this considered management standard work? Or is it just things that we should be doing? So Eric, you're shaking your head.
Well, no, because if you want to take it up a level, I mean, Rocky and I have had different supervisors over the years as well. We've had the opposite happen. And I think from above, you're measured on performance, right? And what does that performance look like? It comes through KPIs. It comes from different metrics than in terms of sustainability for the organization. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one and the same. The behavior can be different to achieve those metrics. And I think that's the biggest difference that we're seeing right now.
I got it. Tyler, does daily management work actually exist as a standard practice in MRS?
I mean, yes, of course, it does exist. What I find effective about, I can only speak to like my narrow unit, the business services team, because I report to Jenny, but I think successful traits of management in my position is an openness to employees coming to them with questions, with problems, to having discussions about how to proceed with situations or how it best fits in with the agency mission. I've never seen my supervisor get angry at anyone, even when mistakes are made. So I think there is not very much fear amongst employees that like they're going to make the wrong action and then be penalized for it in the workplace or something like that. It would just be a discussion with the manager. And then, and I would also say MRS, my supervisor in particular, does a really good job of enabling people to take chances and try things and see how they work. And I think people do in general have the autonomy to make those types of decisions, including myself, like with how I'm reporting data to people into units, like I just say, this is what I'm going to do. This is why I'm going to do it. Is that okay? And she says, yeah, go for it. We can try it and we'll see how it works. And then we'll have a discussion about it. So I think giving people the freedom to try things is part of MRS's management style.
I got it. Ashley, is there actual daily standard work for managers at LabCorp?
Absolutely. Kind of similar to what Tyler said, they give you that. I've never seen my manager get upset either. And I was in our discussion, I was speaking with Eric about how we have like biweekly check-ins or meetings, one-on-ones is what we call them. And they just kind of check in on our team, on the staff, and what we need and what kind of support we need or what we're facing or what challenges, ideas. They give us that kind of support and kind of guidance too. Sometimes if you're struggling with something, they give you the guidance or the tools or the resources to figure it out. And then they also have the client side of their tasks. They QC in all of our work, and they are the kind of the liaison between us and the client, what's happening on study, and then they have to communicate to the client And if the client is needing something or changing something or had an idea, then he has to communicate with us. So management has quite a heavy task load at our site.
I got it. Okay, Mary, you had any other questions that you wanted to ask the group?
Well, first I'm thinking, wow, they're all so lucky you work in these great environments. That's not what I was used to in most of my career. And experience a lot of what was presented in this in the slides on what causes stress. So do you ever have your people, if you're the leader, do you ever have them evaluate you as a leader? Anyone?
So we have these 360 evals, and it's a peer evaluation. And it's interesting that you asked that, because I think it was a couple years ago, I was sitting in a room with a bunch of the leaders, and I asked, is it a thing that, how come we're never seeing the evaluations for who our supervisor is, right? So that we can critique them, right? And then a lot of that comes from, it's optional, right? So your direct supervisor then chooses these 360 peers to send this out to and then be evaluated on. But it isn't a given then that you're going to be able to evaluate who your supervisor will be. So the short answer to that is no, not necessarily.
Anyone else?
To add to that, though, Brett has put out for us every 2 weeks we meet with him. He does ask for any, it says on the form, appreciative and constructive feedback for me as your leader. So he actually is looking for that. So that's something different, though, than what we've known.
I think that's amazing, too, that he meets with you every 2 weeks. I'm totally against performance appraisals. I think they need to be abolished. By the way, I think Mary Jenkins has been mentioned in some of your materials, and she lives here in Florida, who the co-author of the book Abolishing Performance Appraisals. And to do an end of the year I think there should be ongoing conversations. And that's why I think that's amazing that you meet every 2 weeks. That's wonderful.
All right, we're going to move. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. No.
I was saying it's time for us to move
right.
on.
I know.
So thank you very much, Mary. This has been very helpful. This view as to aspects of stress in the work environment, sources of stress, and that there might be good and bad stress is interesting, as well as making progress or having setbacks in our work is also important. So this is what we've covered so far on our checklist for a feedback process. So if you're scoring, and you should be scoring your current view of your feedback process, now you've got these elements that you should be able to evaluate based on our conversations. So today's schedule for appointments that could be on your calendar include your Teach to Learn conversations and writing up those notes. Please submit your plan for this week's PDSA cycle. Continue your your red beads list. That will be submitted later. Continue to invite and have conversations with people about coming to your presentation for your capstone, and then update your theory of knowledge mind map, which we'll cover the quotes in a minute. Mary wanted to read those to us. Our topics for stress are for our Teach to Learn conversations are stress and engagement. And then, of course, our submitting our PDSA plan. So the two quotes from today for our theory of knowledge mind map. Mary, I'll let you go through these.
Well, one reason I wanted to read was this first one. Zadie Smith is an English novelist, essayist, and short story writer, and I spent most of my career as an English teacher. She has been a tenured professor in creative writing faculty at New York University since September 2010. Progress is never permanent, will always be threatened, must be redoubled, restated, and reimagined if it is to survive.
Thank you.
And this one, we cannot teach people anything. We can only help them discover it within themselves. Galileo.
Those are great quotes. Thanks for sharing those. All right. Thank you very much again, Mary. Appreciate you spending the time and effort it took to be here and participate with us. We certainly will be sharing everybody's Teach to Learn notes with you. If you want to provide feedback, that'll be great. And I'll combine mine with yours and we'll send those notes back to people. So as you complete your Teach to Learn notes, it'd be easiest if they're submitted today by our regular deadline. And then Mary and I have an opportunity to work on those and get those back to you. Any thoughts before we conclude today about today's topic or your conversations?
I'll read my quote from my dad. That was
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Please do.
Quality. It's like buying oats. If you want more nice, clean, fresh oats, you must pay a fair price. However, if you can be satisfied with oats that have already been through the horse, that comes a little cheaper.
Okay, then. Thank you for sharing that.
That was Dad's quote on his board.
I think I like unused oats better, so thank you. All right, thanks. Thanks, everyone. Look forward to your work that you're sending today. And again, if there's any questions that you have as you're working on your stuff, please text me. I'll be glad to meet with you. And Gloria, it looks like you might be joining us tomorrow. We're looking forward to you rejoining us. Glad you're feeling a little bit better. And thanks again, Mary. And goodbye, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Okay. Bye.